Subscribers, your video is ready. Hello, LGBTQ plus DL men, women who secretly love us and support us. And if you don't identify with any of those labels, you're still free to subscribe to the channel.
Like damn, she in her move. 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 She lit, get money too. Like damn, she in her move.
So I got like some little. I had brushed my teeth, but I hadn't, I still look rusty from I guess from where I was sleeping, child. From where I was resting. Anyway, I thought that this was a good time to sort of make a video about some things that I have heard spiritually, and since I've released some of my recent videos. I make content based on not only the things that are kind of in the times now, but I also make content around things that I feel are kind of important to share, or things that I feel that could be known spiritually. Like, I think that people often think, oh, when you make content, it's supposed to be in just like one type of content. Well, I'll say this. I received a message once, maybe a while back on TikTok, where this woman was saying, I'll never allow you to be my spiritual teacher, or something like that she said. And when I read that comment, I realized that there was some type of disobedience that had occurred right prior to her writing that message. Because sometimes, have you ever heard the word overkill, or the phrase overkill? Sometimes, or in the past, I used to be one of those people that when it comes to reading a bitch down, read a bitch down.
Clear your throat. Lubricate. And read that bitch.
Like, them comments was coming from the depths of hell to read a bitch down. Okay? And with healing, with spiritual enlightenment, I realized not only what that did to that person, but I understood the reflection that I received from allowing someone to experience me in that way. And so I have something that I haven't really started yet, like a project, but I'm going to speak about something that I realized, or something that I was going to involve in that project. I had a saying where I may not have the certificates to teach certain spiritual things, but I have the experience. And the reason that I say this, right? And you know how some spiritual people, they get up and they be like, I had a dream, and I had the, kind of sound like Martin, but not that way, right? Not in that way. What I am saying, but anyway, what I was getting to is that when a person is experienced, a lot of spiritual teachers, some of them, they speak from a place of reading the text, like a teacher. There is, of course, there is experience, but many spiritualists, like, well, there are some people that do tarot, but they don't have the experience. And you have to think about these things that are being taught. Things that are being taught to other people. Like, I'm not even just speaking about spiritualism when I speak about these things. I'm speaking about anything in the world that there is a certificate to get, or some type of like doctorate that you can get to be a certain thing. Remember that there was a journey to get to the place of a certificate being needed to do certain things. At some, like, there are, for example, there are hairstylists that may be really great at doing hair but don't have the certificate. Now, when they deal with chemicals and stuff, you might want to, hold on, bitch. But for the most part, even a lot of things, they can be researched without having a certificate. So there are still some credible hairstylists that don't have certificates to do certain things, right? But they're still great because they have the experience. They may have some stories, of doing some shit, but most of them that are experienced without certificates can sometimes be very great at what they do. And I'm saying this because, sometimes people think, oh, I'm a bust his bubble because that's not the correct information. Sometimes we want the information to be right because we want someone to validate what we know. But when you have experienced life, your experience is what validates you. And I wanted to, there were things that I said in my previous video and I didn't give like a full context of some things that I have experienced to allow me the knowing of what I know to be true. And it's not that I have to, speak about it to be validated, but there is a need to kind of sort of speak about it also. But oh yeah, like I noticed that I heard something. Well, I saw clairvoyantly something about being blocked, and it wasn't the first time I seen it, and I seen it with a 24,000. I actually had seen this happen more than once, so it's probably something in the media about someone being blocked. And when I seen 24,000, that reduced to a number 6. And so that is telling me that it's probably some type of relationship that where two people had to maybe block each other that were in a relationship, or a family dynamic, something like that, probably with somebody blocking somebody's bag or something like that. The spirit say, did you do an overkill? Nah, spirit, that's what y'all had sent me this information. I don't know who is gonna happen to, but it happened to somebody. Definitely hoping it's not me. But anyway, let's continue speaking about what we got speaking about. Anyway, part of the reason that I had been kind of some people thought mute, why I hadn't been vocal with people, is because I realized that when I realized that when people react, even if they are experiencing what they perceive to be sadness or anger, and they have a reaction, there's still a need to be present. Because if you or a person reacts unconsciously, there is still grounds for receiving karma. Because, just like I was speaking about it in the previous video, right? Or one of the previous videos about, dang, it just went away just that fast because I was thinking about the entirety of both videos. But when you are experiencing things, like, for example, and this is what I was going to say, because I was going to kind of shift it from speaking about the videos into what I was about to say now. And if I can show y'all, I'm like, you see how some of these locks are thin that I have? I also, I don't know if you can see her, you see how like my gums, and I know it looks kind of yellow from the filter, but they're not actually yellow. It's the filter that's on it. I like this filter, you guys, okay? I like it, so I use it because I like it. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. There's a video where I have showed some locks that I have. Hold on. A lot of you know about the experience, the relationship that me and my mom had. Some of you know about the relationship that me and my aunt have had. But I am in a very, I have this belief that how we respond to our experiences is also how we are it's like if we want to be forgiven, we also have to forgive those that have treated us unkindly or unfairly. Like, we can, anyway, I'm going to show you. These are my locks. Some of my locks. I have showed them before, and I kind of made this what do you call it, like this is why I was speaking about being non-vocal with a lot of people, because I realized that sometimes even when you make these not like a promise to myself, but like a vow to myself that once I speak about it, it just is what it is. But if there's a need to bring up something from the past, if it's needed, I will speak about it. Maybe it'll take me some time to be able to get to a place, within my presence to speak about it. But I will speak about it if I feel the need to. And I'm showing you because it's true to my journey. But anyway, a lot of you know that my mom, she was upset, so she pulled my hair from the back, and she was reacting to her anger. and my aunt was upset and she pulled my hair up here, and so I have seen some locks that are kind of like just damaged. And also because I got to a place where in jail where they weren't really, I was being non-vocal with them, and they were also not really, like I said, I kind of felt like I wasn't being heard, but I spoke about that in the previous video. In jail in the year 2021, I wasn't able to brush my teeth, and the teeth thing that they did have, it was just one of those finger little like finger slips that have like the toothpaste already on it to brush your teeth. But anyway, my gums are kind of like the gums like that are on the front, they're kind of like, if I have time I'll show them to you, but they're kind of like flapping, but not bad. But I have a remedy that I not a remedy, but the coconut oil pulling, I have seen a lot of good reviews on it, and I never would have bad reviews from my dentist when I would go to the dentist. But when I became more of a holistic healer, I realized that when I like indulged in holistic healing, I realized that there were ways to heal the body naturally. So I often take the natural route. But when I notice that there has been a call for attention when it comes to these things, and oftentimes spirit will also allow me to know that there's a when I was speaking about in that previous video about how the shaman getting into the water with the alligator and egging the alligator onto it dragged the shaman under the water. Anyway, watch those previous videos because it has a lot of context about what I'm getting into. There's a need for discernment for certain aspects of your life. Like if it is out of your control and there's a need to go to these to go to a dentist or to go to a doctor, if it is out of your control, then you would go. But I've also realized that during that time, what would now I seen a little toothbrush that they had, that some person had prior to me. But anyway, during like those 4 months in jail, I didn't really I wasn't able to take care of my health the way I would normally take care of my health. But I've been flossing, I've been flossing and things like that, and I've the dentist said that it would clear up after I had did flossing and brushing. But I noticed it, but I thought that it was important. I thought that it was important to share it with you as subscribers, to know that it's important to take care of yourself. And it's not like, and this is what I was getting into, sometimes people that love you, they love you from their level of conditioning, and also your ignorance. My ignorance was not allowing me to be loved the way that I truly deserve to be loved. And this is why it's important sometimes to be in the twin flame part of the separation, or to be in isolation, because you have to become aware that sometimes it's the things that you haven't noticed about yourself that you notice in these times. Sometimes I speak about being clairsentient, and with being clairsentient, that is the ability to clearly feel. And with these abilities, they all are interconnected, like clairsentience and clairvoyance and claircognizance. They all are interconnected in a way that help you to understand the experience that is happening, not only with that person, but maybe with yourself. And what I noticed in those interactions where my mom had pulled my hair and my aunt had pulled my hair, their action, when it happened, I noticed things with my that my body was experiencing. Like when my aunt did it, I noticed that there was like this cooling type feeling from where she pulled my hair, like a cooling feeling. And some of the things that she had said, like when people project certain energy, it can affect you as a spiritual being. And when I felt some of these things, I realized that these people that love me or that say that they love me, when those things were happening, it was not only affecting my physical body at that time, but it was affecting me metaphysically also. And for you that don't really understand metaphysics, it's kind of like the spiritual realm and the spiritual experience. And I heard ego, but I had to understand spiritual ego and the ego and how you have to understand your egoic nature. And a lot of times, I'm just not even really sure why ego came up, but what I was hearing kind of was like spiritual ego. I'm not sure what that means in terms of this, but when I'm when I'm editing, I'm pretty sure I'll, receive it again how it is meant to be received. Anyway, I want to say that when that family member, placed their hand, down there, I kind of wondered, was I meant to just, I had already was in this place when I had left the experience from what it was to be in a kind of, I guess you can say, isolated period. I was running from the experience of having to deal with the things that I knew were going to take place, but also me running away from it is also what led it to take place, if that makes sense. Because I started, I received signs about karmic family, and I didn't understand what it was until I started researching it, and I seen, oh, this is what a karmic family is. And I was thinking, well, me and my twin flame are supposed to be together, so I'm going to try to be with him, and told him that these things are going to happen. And because some of the things that I were allowing people to receive, like telling some of my family members that there was going to be a family member that was going to pass, it hadn't happened yet. It was like almost a 3-year prediction. So they're looking at me as, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then when it happens, I had already gone through my grieving period. That also was part of me being kind of non-vocal, because I'm receiving this information about a family member passing, and I'm not sure of how to communicate it with the rest of the family, because my mom was saying, you're not psychic, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and things like that. And the reason she said that was because the guy, that was, well, actually, you don't know, that's what I'm telling you. The guy that when she was getting her vehicle or her car like a new car it was like pre-owned. Anyway, when we were driving in the vehicle, I started asking the guy questions because I started like receiving some information about one of the cars on the lot, and I started also asking him about his family. But again, in the process of being a medium and mediumship, right, you are learning how to discern through what you are receiving. So everything is pretty much like teaching you. I allowed my experience to teach me how to understand mediumship. It's the same as going to a place and paying $300 or thousands of dollars to have your mediumship certificate. There are a lot of mediums that say, "Oh, I've been practicing for this long." So, if I'm going to receive the messages from the divine, can't the divine and the experience that I'm having teach me how to be a medium? Yes. It can teach another medium that could be watching this, or a potential medium that could be watching this. Can your experience teach you mediumship? Yes. Because you are being gifted this knowledge from the divine, which is how you discern delivering a message to people that are receiving the message. If I'm receiving knowledge, right, and I'm saying, this is what I'm receiving from this imagery, from this clairvoyance, from this claircognizance, this is what I'm receiving. And then when they have a connection with the information, they realize, oh, you are a medium. And not everybody's going to, I'm not going to say that. Maybe I should. Not everybody's going to connect with the information that you allow them to receive in the same way. I'll say that. I also want to say this. Oftentimes, I'm not going to say oftentimes, but I kind of built up this type of, and I remember this song from Sia. I think it was Bird Set Free. I don't care if I sing off key, sing my room at the melody. I sing with love, I sing with peace. Say that out like a bird set free. I designed the ship to keep me from heaven and hell. Oh. Is that song or is it? Was it Dressed in Black or was it Bird Set Free? I think it was Bird Set Free. But she was saying that she built the shell to keep her from heaven and hell, right? I think that both of those are experiences of energy, heaven and hell. I think those are both energies that exist in us. They're kind of like routes that we take. We can go the hell route or the heaven route. And oftentimes experiencing people, I think that her idea of heaven and hell in that line is kind of like when we allow people to experience us, how we respond to them or how we react kind of is a reflection of whether we are going to experience heaven or hell afterward. Now, per my previous videos, when people are seeing that imagery of that thumbnail with hell and Billie Eilish on it, the Christians are probably like, what the fuck? Like, what? That imagery probably to Christians is like, hell no, I don't want to, I ain't subscribing to his channel. I gotta unsubscribe from that shit, cause I ain't with the devil and shit, and a lot of spiritual beings receive that type of perception that they're trying to spread. Is it atheism? Like they it's kind of, to me, perceived that way. That I think that sometimes beings don't have a full context on the content, and because what they are seeing, they have a reaction to it because it doesn't fit what they have been conditioned to believe to be true, instead of truly researching all of the information, or at least more information from what they're perceiving to be fear, or what they are fearing by what they are saying. And I spoke about this previously, that Eckhart Tolle spoke about there are two things that make people react to fear, or I'm just going to say it that way. It may not have been. Anyway, just kind of understand what I'm saying. Hopefully this is understandable. But he was saying that there are two fear indicators. People respond to fear from things that they see and things that they hear. And so when we have been conditioned to fear something, if we see something like the devil, we think, oh my God, the devil. Or when we see 666, the devil. And spiritualists sometimes know 666 to be the number of, and the card that represents the devil. And I spoke about this in my in the video titled "You Are the Devil," and it doesn't have a lot of clicks on it because I'm pretty sure people look at it and say, oh, I'm not clicking on that video because it has the devil on it.
Okay, that's what's up. So what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I be on demon time for real.
Because I don't play with no demons. Matter of fact, how you cut this off? You ain't finna get my soul.
And it says that you are the devil. And the video, just to sort of explain it to you, 666 and the devil, especially the devil card in tarot, represents, when it's in the upright position, addictions. And 666 kind of is sort of similar to that in the aspect of focusing on materialism, and how, if that is what those numbers mean, that number means in the card the devil means, just, it's not the full description of it, but that could be the challenge for the viewer that is kind of saying, maybe the challenge that is maybe fearful. Read the information, or look up the information to actually understand it, because then it would probably bring you to a more understanding experience of this information that is, being spoken about. Because a lot of these things, they're just not what we think they are. And if you've watched my previous videos where I spoke about Sophia, and not only that, but I speak sometimes about Lilith being Adam's first wife, and how Lilith, by some people, is actually seen as Adam's actual twin flame. And how I had received some of the information about Lilith is that she was actually the snake within the tree. That a lot of people think they always speak about Eve and Adam and Eve, but if Lilith was Adam's first wife, And I spoke about this in previous videos, so you'll have to watch those videos because that's just a deeper topic. It is. But if we are believing people that have researched this information, don't you know sometimes you have to double check behind people just in case? I received a card from the grocery store the other day, and the card, I had purchased 2 cards, and I ended up putting the other card back, so she had to remove one of the cards from the transaction. And I looked at the back of the card and I said, "Oh, are you sure that this is the right card? Is this the card that got activated?" And she said, "Hold on, let me look." And she had gave me, I had picked up the card that they didn't activate. Well, no, she had gave me the card that she had, gave me, she thought was the card that was activated. So I actually saved the trip from having to go back to the store with the, or coming home with the card that wasn't activated. So within the transaction, she took off the card, and the card that she deactivated, she said on her side of the counter, and the card that I had at first wasn't activated. And then the card that she had activated, she gave to me because she had said the card that was actually activated on her side and hadn't gave me that card. And so when I double checked, I realized that what if she gave me the card that wasn't activated? But anyway, with information that we receive, sometimes we have to double check to actually see if that information is actual fact. And I am one of those people that I don't mind people, what do they call it? Corrective criticism. But it's all about your delivery. And even when a person delivers that information in a way that I probably wouldn't, receive or receive well, or it couldn't be received well because of how it was delivered. But hopefully you're receiving what I'm saying very well. But sometimes you just have to be aware of. You have to be aware that there are texts that are dated hundreds and thousands of years back, and then the person has to decipher these texts that are sometimes written on rock. And like with certain people that speak Latin or Spanish or people that, just like when people that speak English, when we hear a person maybe from Britain or British that says certain words within their message, we may not understand some of the slang or things like that. And this is what I'm getting to. Things that are used in biblical, these actual brick texts. Of course, those people have done studies, and of course people have dreams of clairvoyance, of things that they're actually receiving from the divine realm, right? It's true for them because they are receiving it. And a lot of times these messages, are sent through people from the divine realm about our true existence and things like that. But I often think about, what am I receiving that's true to my now moment? What is actually true for me right now? But without getting too far deep into that conversation, I think I've kind of said what I need to say about that. I kind of wanted to get back into speaking about health and spiritual health, and how sometimes what we experience from people can affect us, because I didn't fully cover that information. And sometimes we can also create certain experiences for ourselves. I, at some point, developed this addiction to being present, and my idea of being present was, and if, like I said, make sure that you watch those two most recent videos where the thumbnail is "Are We in Hell?" and the other thumbnail is about, it has a thing-a-ling print on the thumbnail. Anyway, I in those descriptions, it kind of fits into what I'm speaking about. Again, I built this kind of addiction to being present, and my idea of being present at that time, years ago, like a couple years ago, my idea of present was that there wasn't anything from the past being brought to the present. There wasn't any thinking of the future, because what I was receiving, the information that I was receiving about the past and about the future, and about the present moment, my idea of being present was that there was no thought. The idea of no mind concept is that there isn't thought, but there is thought. It's just that you are allowing what you receive from the divine realm to be you have to have thought to discern, right? Like, there has to be a thought process to discern. The mind is still conscious, but you are present in what you are receiving, things that you have experienced from the past, and things that you are receiving from the divine realm about what is future coming, and what you actually want for yourself for the future, and what you think about what can happen in the future. There has to be thought, claircognizance, and you are in a human vessel. There's going to be thought, there's going to be that. But my idea of presence and what present meant was that there isn't any thought about the past at all. And so when I was experiencing people, or when people were experiencing me, listening to them speak about the past, I kind of didn't want the experience of those people, because I thought that if a person is just bringing up the past, they're wanting those things to be relived. But those moments they have ceased to exist in the future until that person has brought it up. And because when I would say certain things, and then if I would experience something that I said, like in a previous video, I said something about, I don't sleep. I said I didn't sleep. So does that mean that is just a past experience that I experienced, or do I have to relive not sleeping because it's something that I said, even if it was educational? Is that karma for saying that? Like, I wouldn't sleep. Is that karma for speaking about it in that way? Or am I being forgiven, for speaking about the past? Like, if I speak about the past, does that make it true for my future presence? And I want to say that for the majority, I have healed, but there are also things that I'm trying to understand about receiving my experience, and about how manifestation works in terms of what people say to us and things like that. And that's what I'm going to get into too. I heard the number 22. But I want to say this. When my mom and my aunt pull my hair, and oftentimes I don't speak about these things because they're just, I believe in forgiveness so that I can also be forgiven, there were things that happened that, of course, a person wouldn't want it to happen. And I think that, they say oftentimes you have to allow God to have vengeance. Like God has to, he has to have, he gets the last, or it gets the last say. Or, God gets vengeance. And how God can, take the reins and, and really allow things to happen in a person's life is, or how God takes vengeance is way worse than what a person can do as a human. Like, of course, some people could, do things, but I think that when people say, "Oh, I'm gonna get them back. I'm gonna get my get back, my lick back," is what they say. But what God could do to get His lick back would be worse than what you can do. And I've seen it happen. And I spoke about this in my covered video, covering, like a spiritual covering. When my mom was yelling in my face and, she pulled my hair and stuff like that, I was kind of like, I had to stay present enough to say, or to not react. I had to be able to respond. And I kind of like was able to respond with, "We can talk when you calm down." That isn't unkind. Now, some of the things that she was saying and how she was saying it was kind of projecting anger, but I understood her anger. But this is why I brought that up. When she was yelling in my face, then maybe like a week later, within that same week, I found out that she had the Rona or COVID. And my aunt that had grabbed my hair, I found out that she also caught it, my great aunt.